be going for a victory here. We're going on the court.
We get court. We're on the court.
The court is going down. It's going to be GG!
Your champions! They are the heroes of the dorm!
It was crazy. It was insane. I loved every second of it. It's a really cool experience.
I loved every second of Dorm 2. And look at where our Dorm winners have come to from now. Michael Udall, we're looking at Akaface too. Those two are right now sitting pretty at the top of North America. We've got a long way to go in the league, but had a great performance in the first opening week.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too with Fan being victorious in his year competing in Heroes of the Dorm, and then somehow made it onto other Heroes of the Dorm champions roster here at the professional scene. Is interesting to see that play out, but overall, yeah, no, it's amazing to always watch those guys play. It's a lot of fun to, even bake in the bracket for Dorm at times we've had in the past. It's a lot of fun all around.
Well, let's move on to our matter at hand, No Tomorrow versus Superstars. We're going to head over to the Battleground pool for the HGC and look at what was banned. No Tomorrow is the home team, which means they will be the one to pick our first Battleground, so it should come to no surprise that they pick Shire. This has been one that has been a favorite of No Tomorrow. Even in qualifiers, the one game they took off of Team Naventic, they brought this strategy that was Kerrigan, Alarak, and it was disgusting. Like, to the point that I think Naventic at around Heroic Abilities was just like, guys, I don't think this is going to happen this game. It is too crazy. Let's just focus on the next game for sure.
Yeah, we've seen Naventic do that at times, but it's usually with a well-calculated and just catching them off guard to approach and strategy like we see them from them. So I'm excited to see it play out. I think both of these teams, specifically Superstars, was very impressive with their performance, where they were able to show up in week number 1. And I think overall the skill level is going to be relatively close between these teams. So we've got a series on our hands, far closer than what I predicted out of our series number 1 of today.
Let's talk about Superstars. Everyone expected them to play cheese all the time. That's all they cared about. But then they played just completely standard and maybe even surprising Team Freedom last week. When we talked to them, Stray said that mainly it was because they hadn't had that much time to develop those kinds of strategies, but we could expect them in the future. But here versus a team that likely they could beat No Tomorrow, do you think that they'll still bring in the cheese? Will they wait until later games if they have to?
I always would promote the approach of start out standard, get weird if you have to. I would never open out the gates unless you are absolutely confident you can't take this map. Like, if they just know Shire is just not our game, cheese it out here, make it up later. But for now, I would definitely focus on just, playing more traditional game, especially with how impressive Superstars was with that in their first week. Either way, Ragnaros was removed. Tassadar is going to be the ban as well. It seems like NA is slowly honing in on what they think might be the, the OPs, as Malf is going to be the first pick here for Superstars.
What's funny is those bans look startlingly, I got it, it's fine, like bans that we see in Europe.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It didn't take us long at all.
How dare you say that? But either way here, No Tomorrow is going to be looking towards what their rotation wants to be. They have put reasonable prioritization into Tychus compared to some of the other teams in North America. I expect that to be a smidge lower than in the past here. But with Malf off, they have to consider, are they worried more about... No, it's just going to be the Artanis. So what's the follow-up here? Shire is a very interesting map where the solo is heavily contested, and Artanis being, a pretty solid 1v1er there, and then Tychus is going to be locked in. So they're going to stick with the Tychus trend no matter how much he may have struggled here after week 1.
All right, Superstars already have Malfurion, so they have the support on lock. Could maybe try to get some sort of assassin and then warrior, so they're not choked out of any of the roles that are important to them for Superstars. I'm thinking, knowing Goku, that later on, potentially Thrall will be the choice, although I guess Dahaka could be too, but that's been a very good hero for Goku in the past.
Yeah, I would like more of Dahaka, but yeah, I agree. If Goku had a, standout hero, the one that kind of made his career, Thrall would definitely be it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them move that route. Also, considering it is Shire, a little bit of wave clear has to be the focus on this draft. And now the Superstars have the Malfurion. They could even, you know, they could stick to a more ETC, maybe even a Li Ming. It's not one of her better maps, but Vala is what I expected, not the Dahaka there.
Yeah.
So interesting choice, and they go in with that, you know, with the more focus on the top. I personally like the Dahaka into Artanis far more than I like Thrall. Mainly because Artanis has to win in skirmishing and Thrall has to win through skirmishing, and anytime you do that, it's just who can win the skirmish, and it usually doesn't lead to anybody getting an upper hand. But suddenly when you go, well, I can skirmish and I can wave clear, Artanis suddenly goes, I might need some help up here. So now if we see heavy focus from Superstars into the 4-man, they'll go really well off into this draft. Now we have to look towards No Tomorrow's ban. Anything stand out?
Just if they want to ban Vala. Vala was picked in 3 of the games for Superstars last week. It is a favorite of theirs, but with Tassadar already banned, it sort of pseudo-limits that already, unless Superstars wanted to do something like pair Zarya with it. And I don't think we've seen yet where Superstars is willing to play the triple warrior with Zarya. Instead, No Tomorrow's going to ban Falstad, so not letting this go into a further global composition.
Love that ban there on the side of Superstars. I think that was a huge value to be able to rid that of No Tomorrow so they can't bank on being dominant into the 4-man rotations here. Gul'dan so good when it comes to the wave clear. It would have put them into a composition that they've already kind of drafted here in the past. I just think it was heads-up play there, and it works well against the heavy melees that have already been drafted too. So No Tomorrow now, if they move into the Johanna world, I can't help but feel like that is not in their best interest. They need another warrior who can skirmish very well. Tyrael is the first one that kind of comes to mind here, but it doesn't complement the map. They need that wave clear. They have to make up for it, and this is the downside of that Tychus pickup very early on over Avala or even, you know, in the Artanis lock-in. Now you need the double warrior with both having kill potential. They're in a tough spot. Yeah,
you know, I was hoping for No Tomorrow to put a lot of emphasis on ETC too, because to me it does seem like ETC is the best we've seen from Erho so far. Less so for Tyrael, but now we get to see his Diablo.
All right.
That's for the first time.
Yeah, and Diablo coming out here has made a pretty good showing. Pretty high DPS there, warrior. He does a lot. He's got the skirmishing. I like that, but we can't help but take a minute to appreciate the non-existent wave clear on the left-hand side of your screen here, which is between Tychus, Li Ming, and Diablo. Yes, they can clear them, but they all risk a lot or have to be in really unique creative positioning to be able to ensure that that wave clear happens. It's not easy at all. So now Superstars, if they put an insane amount of focus into their wave clear, they have a lot going for them. I expect Vala is going to be a must-pick here. The question is, what's next? And they went with the Zarya. I thought they were going to try and avoid that, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a Vala, and then I couldn't figure out the backliner off the top of my head. But I didn't expect them to go, again, let's pick another melee. Worry about the Zarya here. She does help a bit in the 4-man, compliments across the board. Superstars has an insanely well-rounded comp. I think it does struggle a little bit in wave clear, but No Tomorrow didn't draft any, so who cares, really?
Yeah. Superstars did run a composition like this. I missed it. Their Sky Temple draft had 3 warriors just like that with, I think, Hosty was playing Vala in that case, but Hosty can play Vala, Hosty could play Zarya. Rhaegar is the final pick, trying to boost the wave clear of No Tomorrow, but it seems to me like that's going to be something where we may even see No Tomorrow do the thing where they rotate people up to the top and just try to get picks, or do a 4-man mid-top just to try to do whatever they can to not do we're just going to do mid-bot and you're going to beat us. At least I think that's what they need to do.
My main focus, if I am No Tomorrow, is play heavy focus on top, get kills onto the top lane, wait for the misposition on Dahaka as best as I possibly can, because I'm not confident in my 4-man, and I think that's going to be the weakest point on my opponent's side of the draft. Overall, though, I think Superstars has a very well-rounded, objectively powerful, maybe not accenting the map that much, but I don't think they really need to with how good of picks they managed to pick up there.
And similar picks to what we saw from them last week. So it hasn't really changed too much for Superstars. They haven't had to make this gigantic adjustment. So still even playing something they're comfortable on. I believe FaZe Vala is 100% win rate on like 2 games, but still, that's pretty good too. So good things going for them. all
Yeah,
around.
it's just playing safe, sticking to the norm. Again, very happy to see that coming out from them when a lot of teams, you know, even interviewing, we're always just like, here's the team with the cheese. They'll pull out the cheese. Saray has been known to be able to do that in the past. Faye is known for her weird heroes. And so the fact that they have kept it clean and very simple is something that I very much appreciate coming out from them.
Do you see anything different for No Tomorrow, maybe with different hero or heroic abilities, something for them that we are not seeing in that case?
I don't think so. Off the top of my head, I don't think there's any major synergy or difference that I would be like, well, you know, maybe they had this in the plan. It just seemed like they went through their first rotation and they were like, all right, we got the Artanis, and then they were like, well, what are we doing now with the rest of the map? It's just because Artanis has that fear factor that is the feel of getting swapped.
We'll get to see if Casanova is able to make those swaps because a lot will be on his shoulders. We're ready for game number 1 between No Tomorrow and Superstars on Dragonshire.
All right, here we go. Game number 1 between Superstars and No Tomorrow. On the left-hand side, in fact, is No Tomorrow, where Casanova is on the Artanis, Jason is on Tychus, Tiger JK playing the Rhaegar, Urho on Diablo, and Li Ming is going to be played by Talking Trees.
That is a favorite of Talking Trees and has been so for a long time. Over in the red are the members of Superstars. Faye will be playing Vala, like we said, another favorite for her. Goku playing Dahaka, something he was wrecking with last week. Hosty playing Zarya. Iakono will be playing Malfurion, looking for the root follow-ups. And finally, Saray will be on ETC.
Teams going head-to-head here into the mid lane. Skirmish potential probably in favor of Superstars just because of the raw survivability that they managed to have. And then this top lane matchup is something I will be personally keeping my eye closely on to see how it works out here. Because I expect the Dahaka to kind of take control, and he is already showing here into the bottom lane, looking for that clear, and then to get that burrow onto the top.
No Tomorrow has the faster initial clear. Dahaka's in the bottom, but Brush Stalker's top. Maybe trying to...
It's a double soak. It's all it
Yeah.
does. It gives you a little bit more of an experience advantage over your opponent. If he just clears one, makes the transition, goes to the top lane, he'll be able to win that race as well. One thing we do have to keep in mind, though, is Goku did have very, very good, dives through the brushes, coming up, flanking the backline last time we saw him on this. But hitting the tongue onto the right target, getting that drag to come out and be a playmaker, on the other hand, was not a common trend, at least when we saw him onto this hero. So we'll see if that changes on Dragonshire.
Reactive parry is the choice at level 1 for Artanis. So this time not getting amateur opponents, but making sure that he will have some block stacks, especially versus, things like Vala. It helps as well, just with Dahaka even a little bit mitigating some damage. Can be all the difference potentially when we look at this 1v1 matchup.
All right, and one thing to keep in mind too that's actually surprisingly underestimated in that 1v1 is Artanis always has the potential to swap while you're on the point, and if that happens, it's pretty much a free cap. Actually, good route there from Iakono onto Urho. Response is going to be a lot of grenades to his face and very low HP. But you can always get that swap, and that swap might be enough to just confirm that Dragonite, It's much like you can see with Tyrael or Stitches in that scenario. Just having that mobility is a very underestimated and undervalued resource on Dragonshire.
This is nice for No Tomorrow. They're the ones that have been controlling the mid bot so far and are even getting their Giants because they know that Superstars, given enough time, will potentially start to catch up. They use that little bit of a 4 advantage. Tiger JK, the fact that he can jungle as Rhaegar. And these Giants are going to help No Tomorrow continue to be in charge of the rotation.
All right, so I can't tell if I'm really missing something, but the scouting drone option? We'll get to it in a second as this skirmish is going to pop out. That's a huge root. Hosty's perfectly body blocked between 4, and that invade's going to be very clean here for No Tomorrow. But the Iakono picking up the scouting drone, I understand the value of that scouting drone can have in certain scenarios. It's actually very, very impressive, but when considering that wave clear is so prioritized, yeah, Moonburn, losing out on the Moonburn, can't help but feel like that is a very critical decision there that might come back to haunt them. No Tomorrow is able to pick up the first Dragonite of this game and see what they're going to be able to make happen with it. But yeah, very interesting to see how this plays out so far in this game. Not what I expected coming out from Superstars. And if anything, if their last week's play, transfers to this, it's that they struggle when they fall behind, when things don't work out very early on. When they are ahead, very precise, very calculated rotations, decision-making. Looks very pretty, but we saw them in a moment where they were in the lead of a game and everything fell apart.
Yeah, the decision-making just gets slower in trying to figure out what to do. They seem almost terrified that they'll make the wrong response, and in fact just don't make a response at all. That is a rush in to kick Faye away, but all of No Tomorrow are sieging down the bottom keep, and this is such a nice position to be in as No Tomorrow.
Stray with the flank there. Jason's in a bad spot. Power Slide comes in. Good cleanse and the kick. The drag from Goku, who is going to be able to confirm the kill onto Tychus. Good for Urho trying to get away here as he does overpower Faye, but in the end, he is going to be the one who, in fact, is overpowered. That is a 2-for-0 trade. Superstars fight back.
And that puts them back into the game in terms of experience. But even still, No Tomorrow have gotten a lot of towers down from Superstars between mid and bottom. So having the towers down, having that 4 almost down, will continue to help them make these rotations between lanes a lot easier.
Yeah, and there we see Casanova coming in for the skirmish. Talking Trees throwing out a spells phase in a tough spot. Ult's going to be used, so that is all her escapes. She's in a fine spot there as Hosty will be there to be able to block some of those shots.
All right, Casanova's going to head back up. I was looking at talents, and one that caught my eye that is a Goku-specific pick is getting Lurker Strain at level 4 on Dahaka. That was combined, a couple of talents combined into one, so now it not only grants you stealth when you emerge from Burrow, but also knocks enemies back. But he paired that later on with Tunneling Claws and just made this even easier to escape Dahaka that could go in, do a bunch of damage, escape if you need to, had adaptation, so it was just impossible to ever get a kill onto Dahaka.
Yeah, and like the reinitiation potential, there's a lot of cool uses there of those talents when combined, but we gotta wait till we get to the 16, sadly, to be able to see the epic plays that are happening here. Both teams have captured the Knight, so it looks like No Tomorrow's gonna be applying pressure onto Goku, see if he takes the bait here, as again, he wins this 1v1. Oh, the dash, the drag. Urho's going to put him back, and he will be just fine here. Superstars is going to be forfeiting this top front wall. Man, I'm amazed the fact that they didn't force that issue, knowing that Superstars really wasn't in the correct position to be able to defend.
Yeah, Superstars are picking up their Giants, so they'll have a good positioning on this bottom lane, but up in the top, that gives Casanova a little bit of time to grab the Sun Shrine. And once Giants are picked up too, maybe No Tomorrow can do the same in the bottom, but those will be cleared up very quickly because Goku does have Primal Aggression.
All right, so there are No Tomorrow is putting a majority of the heroes down below. Superstars is about to hit 10 a fraction of a second earlier there. There we see it. Heroic Choice, Expulsion Zone, Rain of Vengeance, Twilight Dream, Stage Dive, and in fact, I believe that is going to be the adaptation.
That's what he was running with Dahaka before too. Heroic abilities now available for No Tomorrow too. Everything standard. Jason is going to grab Commandeer Odin. We've seen him run both Commandeer Odin and Draken Laser Drill, in this case going for Odin.
Yeah, Odin has had a lot of influence there, and the amount of damage he's been able to put out in these fights has really been able to help, I guess, the spike and rise of Odin, but it hasn't been enough to really get big wins. Hosty's in a tough spot there. Expulsion Zone's used. Twilight Dream 2. He is going to go down very quickly. His Stage Dive is going to be more like a stage flop at this point, as he is on full retreat. Faye goes down too. No Tomorrow. Very quick response over Superstars.
You know when people kind of joke about a stage dive happening, like I've got the dream and then no one catches you?
Yeah.
That's what we just witnessed.
That was exactly it. Just full face plant there. But Sray managed to survive, so he's got that going for him. You know, he can come back for the encore. He didn't go down with the boys. He's coming back later. You wait. This is his moment. He will thrive. 40 seconds before that's going to come right back up, and I promise you, it is going to be a huge stage dive.
He does not give up. He'll get right back on that stage, but that may be up against a Dragon Knight. No Tomorrow is posturing to pick it up.
And the lock-in is there. So now bottom 4 has already fallen. Urho is going to set his sight probably towards the mid 4. For those who don't know at home, the most valuable lanes of pressure, Alan Dragon Shire, are always going to be mid and to the bottom half of the map. Preferably bottom, but if you can open up mid, it just helps with the rotations. Bottom specifically, because that's where the lane where there's the control. Good pre-cleanse coming up from Iacona is going to save Posty from being in a tough spot. And Urho is just going to whack away here onto this and confirm this middle fort. But again, bottom is the most valuable because that is the area where you're going to see those shrines, which provides vision. It just snowballs. It is absolutely ridiculous to be able to prioritize that.
Also, it's the only lane where you can get 3 mercenary camps pushing. So in toward the late game, if you could steal their giants away from their opponents after maybe getting a couple of kills, rotate down, get bruisers, and then get giants, that lane is going to be a huge pressure point against your opponents. Level 13 almost here for No Tomorrow as Airho's Dragon Knight is taken out, but still a lot of structural damage again done by No Tomorrow, making sure that they are maximizing all they can get out of Dragon Knights.
Yeah, I questioned if No Tomorrow is actually going to transition towards top after that and look towards opening up the map even more, but they actually opted towards the decision. Goku is going to be in a tough spot. There's going to be the pin. Body block attempts from Urho. Overpower is available. There's the burrow. Overpower will throw him. Stage dive lands. Ends up hitting one. APOC is going to be used.
Oh, just before adaptation could heal back up. No Tomorrow take him out. There's a swap 2 on an Iacona. Now he's in trouble. No ice block just yet to save the day. And a quick 2 kills for No Tomorrow. And here's the exact situation I mentioned. You get a couple of kills, you steal giants away, you can make that swing and get a whole bunch more mercenary camps.
Yeah, and that pressure is going to be timed with the map objective, which then it just snowballs. Very, very difficult. Rotations have to be on point onto Dragonshire if you do want to be a successful team. And for now, No Tomorrow seem to have the upper hand here as mid keep wall has gone down, bottom keep wall as well. Top 4 is going to be the next focus of structures just to be able to open that up, and most likely around the 16 talent tier. I would like to see them put a little bit more focus in top, not right now, but just in general, because once that fort falls, there's legitimately no free territory for Dahaka to do Dahaka things on Dragonshire. Globals are great whenever you have the upper hand. The minute you don't on Dragonshire, they're very easy to notice when they're used and where they were used, really, on the shrines there. So maybe during this downtime, take the Knights, transition top, get a little bit of over pressure in the top lane and not let Goku do his thing.
With so many mercenaries in the bottom, No Tomorrow knows that that is someplace where superstars will have to start. So likely superstars will want to clear those out and then go for the bottom shrine first. And No Tomorrow can do exactly what you were hoping for. Dread allows them to start to take down towers, potentially even the fort up at the top, but at least make sure they're getting one of the shrines too. This is a place where superstars would like to maybe get into a fight before No Tomorrow gets 16 talent tier. So if No Tomorrow can simultaneously keep a hold of one of the shrines and not give a fight, that would be ideal.
Yeah, now that we see Superstar showing on mid, everybody has seen that, so we should see a heavy aggression coming out from No Tomorrow on top, looking to get 16. They won't have it off the front wall by itself. It will get them like just barely there. But No Tomorrow, a little bit late on that. I can't help but feel like that was a very easy situation to be able to further their lead and really leave no moment for Superstars to be able to make the comeback here. Instead, risk the swap attempt. 16 is still yet to be achieved. Goku has on the point. We'll see if Stage Dive comes into play and maybe confirms the cap onto the Dragon Knight, as there was a faint rotation towards mid. Diablo is nowhere into this fight. Stage Dive lands, a cleanse coming out onto Jason.
Ice block to stop the swap from Casanova. Airho tries to throw out Srey. This is a strange situation that now they've been found themselves in. Casanova gets hit by just about everything, but that includes the ancestral healing. And now in mid-swap, ETC goes down.
Yeah, our Tiger JK really showing up there, getting that last second ancestral will lead his team to victory in that fight. Now picking up 16. They have the top shrine. They are, I think all Dahaka's global is still available, so they don't have a free transition here into the Dragon Knight. Still have to be patient. We send Casanova here down. They'll be able to get that channel, and we'll see what happens on top as they both teams know it's a 4 versus 4, and that is going to be Hosty is going to have to say goodnight because that was a perfect combo. And the interrupt there from Trees, what? That was a play if I've ever seen one on Li Ming. My goodness, he is going to be able to get more here. Very well done.
Reset City for Talking Trees and another Dragon Knight. This is a very clean game for No Tomorrow. But as I mentioned before, it is their battleground choice, one of their favorites, one of the ones that they understand the best. It's a good way to start off this series, though. They have Dragon Knight. Now they can start marching toward that bottom keep. They have 16 talent tier advantages, and Superstars have a full level to go until they can catch back up in experience.
Yeah, this should be the keep. ETC is just giving up for showing for Soak. which is only going to make this a lot easier to be able to take out. Casanova and friends are just going to be diving right in here once they get done with that, transitioning toward the middle keep or top fort. Again, I would really like to see the top fort after that mid-keep front wall is taken out, just because, again, what that provides to the Shrine control with the globals, it forces absolutely horrid decision-making on the side of the double global comp that Superstars has managed to make happen here. Here goes the mid-keep wall. See where the next rotation is. Most teams would threaten the keep and just ignoring the top fort. And it looks like they're going to do the same.
That's the case. Waiting on some minions. Jason clearing out the wave here. Getting the well, too, which is always nice. Less of a way for Superstars to reinitiate quickly, at least. Superstars, though, the minute they hit 16, No Tomorrow was out of there. They're just going to take our Dragon Knight, say that's enough for us, and make sure that they're in place to very quickly get an upper hand in the Mercenaries.
I never noticed Tiger JK's build, actually. It's a very unique one. It's old, actually. Europe ran it for a while. Just a full totem build there, going with totem range at 1 and then having the slow at 16. Those are normal, but then running that with the healing ward on top of it. You know, you just committed. Rhaegar's the playmaker. He just throws a bunch of pulls into the ground and the things happen and the team wins. That's, I guess, how you play it here with this build. But we'll see if he can make any major plays. The 1 and 16 are really the ones to be looking out for. I'm just surprised to see that. I haven't seen it in so long.
I really like, too, they have Psionic Wound, so the minute that Artanis goes in with Twin Blades, they could just melt somebody just like that. They were trying to do that onto Iacona, but he has Ice Block. Twilight Dream hits the front line of No Tomorrow. Odin's coming in. Bala's already been taken out. Ancestral Healing keeps Airho nice and healthy, and Malfurion will be the second one to fall. Hosty is going to have to just try to lead No Tomorrow on a merry little chase away from their base. Talking Trees, I guess, is it
no
to deal with him?
Come on. That was a free B-step moment. You know, reported for the lack of B-stepping. Either way, 3 people dead here. Sray is going to get the power slide out. The swap's not going to land. Casanova is phenomenal when it comes to killing onto the core, though. Something you have to be looking out for is he did not take the amateur opponent, so won't be wailing on it that effectively. But either way, I don't think there is any chance for Superstars to be able to take this. No Tomorrow, putting on a very clean showing here in Game 1.
Bala's going to come back out, has Rain of Vengeance, but it's too late. The core is at 7% and falling. No Tomorrow with the first win over Superstars.
Very impressive coming out from them. Calculated. I didn't think it would be as controlled, especially with the little bit of the confusion that we maybe experienced for No Tomorrow last week. But that being said, it is on their map choice, and Dragonshire is a weird beast in the sense that even if you understand Dragonshire and you're good at Dragonshire and your opponents, like, even if not all 5 of them truly understand Dragonshire and are comfortable on it, they won't be successful. So I'm not totally sold yet, but so far impressed with No Tomorrow.
Well, we will get to see them play more after this commercial break, so hang